Jazz music has always been an interest of mine, and I started studying jazz piano when I was finished in the gymnasium, and I went on to the conservatory to study jazz piano, and I'm guessing that is probably the reason why jazz is kind of infiltrated through all that I do, and it sounds also pretty jazzy sometimes, the music, especially the first two albums. Yeah, on the third album, that's true. There's more of a variety of genres, and that's true. Yeah, I wanted to experiment with the different genres, and I've always been interested in different genres. And I personally also think that there are traces of other genres in the first two albums, but in the third album. Maybe I left a little bit of the jazzy and it became a little bit more pop rock like, I would say. Don't know the reason actually. I think it's just what I wanted to do at the time. Yeah. Momo is my alter ego, I think. It's a project which is everything that Dánjal is not. Dánjal, the band Dánjal, is mostly acoustic instruments, and Momo is mostly electronic instruments or synthesizers, mostly retro 80-like synthesizers, and the style is kind of Daft Punk or Jean-Michel Carré. And Momo is also a project which is very what do you call it? Conceptual. It's a concept. All the songs are about fruits, different kinds of fruits, and I made a lot of research of what different fruits mean in different cultures, and then the fruit gets kind of a metaphor in each song. There's a song called Apple Song, and there's a called Watermelon Blues, and there's a song called Coconut Lover, and Apricot Children, and stuff like that. And I was inspired by the fruit's meaning in ancient cultures, and also some of it is just my personal imagination. Momo, the name Momo means peach in Japanese, and Momotaro is a character which is similar to our Moses. There's an old woman who is childless, and she can't get children. She always wanted a child. She goes down to the river, just like in our Moses story, and instead of a basket with the children that comes floating down the river, there's a giant peach that comes floating down the river. She brings in the peach and takes it home to her husband, which is just about to cut it with a big kitchen knife. And then when he cuts it, he can hear someone yelling inside from the peach, said, "Please don't cut me." And inside of the peach out comes a little boy who they take to be their son, and he grows up to fight evil and stuff, just like, or similar to our Moses story. That's an example of how we kind of, or how I've been letting myself be inspired by the different fruits and different cultures. My Faroese origins are of course very important in my music and mostly my artistic work, most of my artistic work. Although I've been living in abroad for many years, and of course that somehow influenced what I'm doing. I've been staying in different countries, Holland and Africa and in Russia also, and in Sweden. And I like to think that I've taken something from everywhere. But the Faroese origin is of course always there. And I've been very interested in this. What is the Faroese sound? What is the Faroese origin? And actually, when I studied in Sweden, I wrote my main paper on it's called the Faroese sound. And I did an interview with a person who said that you will always somehow feel that you want to express your circumstances. And in the Faroe Islands you can always see the horizon. And the fact that you can see the horizon somehow must influence what you do. And when you see the horizon, you feel somehow, it feels natural to do something which is more dynamic. Maybe not as fast, but more dynamic. As opposed to if you live in New York or something, where you can see straight into the neighbor's house or 1,000 people on the street, you probably feel it feels more natural to create something which is faster and more stressful somehow. And apparently you can move that fact to the bird life, because if you look at birds in the mountain, they live fairly. It's far apart. They live far apart from each other, and the sound of their pip is bigger and broader than the sound of the pip of the birds who live in the cliffs, which live very close together, and many birds. Their sound is much smaller, but the pips are much faster. Pip, 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 pip. And I think that is somehow translatable to music, at least in my opinion. And I've been living where there's a lot of people, in Copenhagen for example, and also in the Faroe Islands, and my music is somehow a blend of both, I think. Also, when I lived in Holland, I lived with musicians from Bulgaria who played like a Balkan music. That's also fast and sweaty. So in my music, I think there's a blend of everything. And the musicians are from all countries in North, both Finland and Denmark and Sweden and Norway and Iceland and the Faroe Islands, which also somehow gives you this blend. But since I write most of the music, I think the Faroese origins and the Faroese sound is probably the biggest factor. I don't do anything actually apart from music, and I haven't done anything apart from music for many years. I've been writing music for films, for theater, for myself and for others, and giving workshops and teaching also a little bit in songwriting. But off the record, or I haven't told anyone before, I have actually been thinking about studying social science, because I'm very interested in the society, and also the society and the kind of critical thinking towards Western way of living is a very big part of my lyrics when I write lyrics. But as I said, I haven't decided if I'm going to do that. I'm thinking about it. Yes, I have. I was studying in Holland for a while, and in Holland there was a band who was pretty big in Russia, and they needed a piano player, and they asked me, can you come on tour with us in Russia? And I did. So we went to St. Petersburg, for example, and also Murmansk on a tour in Russia, which was, it was fantastic. One of my biggest experiences abroad. And it was funny because this band was apparently quite big, so we were on this Russian MTV station and stuff like that. And then we went to Murmansk, and that was the last stop. And in Murmansk I went to the music school or conservatory. I don't really know what the kind of school it was, but I met some people there who asked me, can you please teach us some jazz music? And I did. I was there for a while, for 2 weeks, and the others left back to Holland. And I stayed at the school where I think it was 4 guys who were interested in learning about jazz. They were great musicians playing mostly classical music. And in 2 weeks, I learned the most of what I had learned, because they were so interested and so fast learners. I met them Monday evening. Said, okay, tomorrow you have to practice on this. And the next day they practiced. I think they practiced probably all night. And they, after 2 weeks, we did a concert together. And we came to this place. I don't know where it was. Some venue. And we came in. And on the stage there was an electrical piano. I might be a little. I think I may have been a little bit angry. Said, is this what you have? Come on! I mean, I wanted an acoustic piano. And then the guy said, "Okay, come with me." We went into a car, and he drove me to a piano where you could buy pianos. And he said, "What do you want?" I said, "No, nothing. I don't want anything. You don't have to buy a piano." And he said, "Yes. We'll take a piano. If you want a piano, you get a piano." I said, "I'm sorry, it's fine. This electrical piano, I can play it, no problem." "No, you have to pick one." Okay, so I just found the cheapest one and said, "This is fine." And then fine. 1 hour later, the piano was on stage and we played. And that was very like, whoa. I got bad conscience. But it was a good, nice concert and very nice time in Murmansk. Minus 27 degrees where we landed. Whoa, I've never experienced that before.